You got your high pH water there?
Absolutely. Nice shirt.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. New line coming out. New Momentum merch coming out soon.
Solid.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
What do you think, bro?
I mean, training, obviously.
No, I've been training, throwing, doing everything. Literally all day is like full of stuff. It's like these days are more busy for me than normal days.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel too.
Yeah.
Free time to like actually get stuff done.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's your routine like? Like waking up in the morning. Walk me through a day.
Wake up in the morning. Thankfully, I have an amazing wife who has coffee made for me. We do a Bible study. She makes me breakfast. Thank you, Cassie. And then literally I start my day, come into my gym where I'm at right now, do all my band work, stretching, warm-up routine, all hanging, everything. Do my plyo ball. I have a wall like right behind my house that's perfect. Do it all. And then from here, go to a local park, play catch with Brian Shaw, your boy.
Oh, Brian's out there?
Yeah, we've been throwing every day.
Oh, that's sick. How those cutters treating you?
Bro, I've got him throwing a 4-seam.
No way.
Yeah, he's throwing a 4-seam. So we're getting that dialed in.
When he was over here for spring training, I asked him what he'd been working on. He wouldn't share any of the goods with me. He wouldn't tell
really?
me. Yeah. Just giving away his secrets. I love it.
Yeah, maybe he wants to keep that on the DL. I've got the Rapsodo set up and everything. So we've been playing catch, we've been throwing bullpens, and then after that I'll get my hitting in. There's a group of high school kids, some super cool kids, and we hit in the cage there at that park. And then after that I come home and do like my workout. And then I've been doing some PT on my knee. So literally, I mean, I usually get done at around like 6:30ish, just in time. Sun's been going down at 7, go on a walk down by the water with the wife, wind down a little bit. But that's been the day, every day.
That's pretty sick. 7 days a week?
7 days a week, pretty much. Yeah. Sunday's the only day where, like, if I don't feel like hitting, I won't hit. I'll still do like a thoracic spine mobility, like an hour session, and then yeah, that's about it. We went golfing because the golf courses opened up here, so we went golfing one Sunday evening just to get out of the house and do something that was nice.
Hey, did they close the beaches down there? Is that true?
It's kind of controversial in Orange County here. They closed the beaches, but Orange County isn't really happy about it, so it's kind of not being enforced much.
Yeah, a lot of unrest with that. I've seen it all over the news and stuff.
Yeah.
You taking any at bats off the high school kids?
No, I did take one. Actually, I did take one when I first got home. Yeah, so I took one, but I mean,
I got 2 at bats in the other day.
You took 2 at bats?
I got 2 at bats in the other day. Yeah.
Off of who?
One of my buddies from Driveline. He's down here with the Dodgers.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, stepped in there.
What have your days been?
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm lifting. So that's like 3 to 7 is my like throwing lifting slot. So I'll start all my warm up and meals and all that stuff around 2, and get in there, do my throwing. Usually like hour and a half, 2 hour lift. Eat. Been waking up at like 10, doing some business stuff. Got a lot of calls in the morning. All that. Wednesday is pretty much like company organization with talk with my analysts, talk with all my guys at Momentum.
Yeah.
Just my schedule is down to like the 15-minute mark, so running on Google Calendars right now. It's just saving my life.
It's crazy.
What's What's this Zenden like logo? How'd that get developed?
So the Zenden, my wife made up the name, and I liked it. And I was like, man, it's kind of like it'd be cool to do something with it. And I feel like I want, to let people into who I am, type of thing. Like not just everything when it comes to, my whole routine of whether physical, nutrition, mentality, so psychological, faith, everything. So felt like we were just kind of messing around. I was messing around with my iPad with some things, and I don't know, this just kind of came about, and then I sent it to my agent, and they loved it, and they had me instead of just a random person. They put me in the middle there, and I was like, it kind of works perfect.
So you made the first version of that?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. I love that. What program do you use on your iPad?
I think it's like Sketch or something. I don't know.
Dude, yes.
Is that what you're using?
I use the same thing. That's what I draw all my sketches on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was using Sketch, and then it just turned out this way. I played around with like a triangle and a circle, and I was like, I kind of like them both. And so it was funny because I sent it to someone who works within my agency, and I was like, okay, I have a logo. And I could sense like the nerves of like her not wanting to tell me how trash it is. I was like, listen, you can tell me that it's absolutely terrible. I don't care. Like, I'm going to send it to you. Be brutally honest. And she's like, well, I actually really like it. Like, I'm going to send it off, and we'll see if we can do with it. So I like it, man.
That's sick. I like it too. It's like, it really encapsulates everything.
I appreciate that.
What have you been doing? What have you been getting better at? I mean, obviously, like lifting and stuff like that, you're always getting better. But like, what's your main area of study right now?
So something I haven't talked to you about. I've taken like a 1.5 to 2 year approach to rebuilding my body.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So like I'm doing a ton of stuff, like more gymnastics-based, a lot more gymnastics-based, conditioning the tissue, like just promoting healthy joints. And it takes a really long time, and like I'm already seeing benefits from it. It's pretty cool. I've been doing it for like since I've been home. I've been doing it. There's this guy, look him up, Chris Sommer. He's an Olympic gymnastic coach, and Vito Portal studied under him for 6, 7, 8 years, and learned a lot from him. So this guy's brilliant, man. And like I listened to 3, 4, 5 podcasts of him, and I was just blown away by just the knowledge that he had. And it was everything that I had been like seeking. And it's next level, dude. But it's so good. It's almost hard because some of it's a little easy at first, but he's like, he promotes, you have to take it so slow, otherwise, you're gonna hurt yourself, even though you feel like you can do certain things. Like you have to condition the tissue, you have to condition the joints, you have to condition everything, otherwise you're gonna get hurt. Like he's really strict with that, and everything is very methodical, the approaches, and it's insane. Like it's just so perfect, man. And I realized after the first 2 weeks, I was like, man, I could see if I was overzealous with this, then I could see like, yeah, you could develop some elbow tendonitis, or you can just see things where they would pop up randomly over time if you're just like, no, I could do all these things. So yeah, I'm taking it slow. That's why I've committed like 1.5, 2 years. But you're gonna be seeing your boy doing some crazy things with his body.
All right, I got a question for you.
What you got?
Why?
Why?
Like, what need are you trying? Like, are you just like, okay, I don't like how I look, I'm gonna do it. Like, do I like what performance benefits? Like, why?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. So this is why. The body is only going to allow itself to push it to its limit. Like your arm isn't going to allow you to throw a baseball and your arm come out of your socket it's always going to protect itself. It's built. Your mind, your brain is is built for survival. So it's never going to push you past your own limit. So I feel like with just the heavy lifting and stuff like that, I've always been seeking other things because I feel like that, that's not everything for me. Like, even though, I would come in and do a heavy lift and my body wouldn't feel good, but it's the only thing I need to do. So, like, I'm just doing it because it's the only thing I know to do, even though I don't necessarily feel like it's the best thing for me. But I'm doing it because me and you, we work insanely hard. And if I don't do it, in my head, it's like, dude, I'm not working. So I do it, whether it's right or wrong, I do it. So this is for me. I truly believe that, I'm trying to gain extra velo. I'm trying to gain all this. Well, my brain isn't going to allow me to push past certain barriers due to it wanting to protect my body. And so this is what allows me to push beyond those limits by conditioning the tissue, the tendons, the ligaments, the joints, and all of a sudden my brain is like, that limit that bar that was set here is now all of a sudden here, and I have this new window in order to really push my body to. So that's why I'm doing it. And honestly, like, it's pure health. Like, it's pure health of, muscle, everything, like movement quality, everything. So it's definitely, in the worst case scenario, it's not going to hurt me. You know what I mean? So I weigh those options too.
But do you ever weigh the training economy, like the opportunity cost of, like, if you do something that ends up not helping you at all, it may not make you worse, but you spend a bunch of time doing it. You could have been doing something else that might have made you better, but you lost out on it because you missed the time. Does that ever cross your mind?
So that's where I rarely pull the trigger on something like this, but after doing your own research, doing my own research, this is to where, because otherwise, if you're stuck looking for something like that, then you're just going to paralyze yourself with not knowing what to do to make yourself better. So you have to first rely on putting in the time to educate yourself on the topic, on what's going on and everything. And I'm not 100% sure that this is going to work, but the belief that it is pretty high. Like, it's up there to an extreme to where I've been able to say, okay, this is it. And so I'm still lifting, but it's not like the good thing about it too is this time, like, I'm rehabbing my knees, so I can't necessarily go crazy with my lower half, with all that. So like hang cleans or squatting or deadlifting, all that stuff, I'm trying to keep the wear and tear from my knee away. So I've had a lot more time to actually, like, invest into the more gymnastics approach, to where otherwise I would be limited in really what I can do, especially working out in my garage. So it's actually been a perfect time to come across it.
That makes sense. What's it based on? Is it like, obviously, like, gymnastics, there's a lot of different stuff. You could do rings, like beam, floor, like all those different things. So is it based on, like, body control, isometric, like, is it plyometric stuff? What?
Yeah, so there's different things. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing, like an upper body day, is going to be like, I'm using the rings. It's nothing extreme at first, so it's just we're doing like a chin hold for about, I'm at right now 24 seconds. Got to hold for 24 seconds for 5 sets. A wide grip pull up, a handstand against the wall with a 10-second negative for sets.
You're on my type of training program.
Yeah.
I live in those. That's all I get to do. I don't get to do any power stuff. I just 10-second eccentrics, 3-minute holds, like.
Yeah. No, that's what we were talking about too. Exactly. We're talking about, explain why you do that. Why do you do that?
So for me, it's all about the tendon ligament health, joint health.
Yeah.
There's really good research out there about actually being able to repair or regenerate tendon. And no one ever thinks about training tendon or connective tissue at all.
No, exactly.
It's all like, okay, if you get strong, like, go lift, do curls, do extensions, do squats, do whatever, right? So you get stronger, but your muscle can grow a lot faster than the tendon can actually handle. And so when you're actually applying force through that new ability, like your tendons aren't able to handle it. That's why when guys take steroids or growth hormone or stuff like that, a lot of times they break, but it's not muscular tears, it's they tear ligaments and stuff. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, so I spend like, if I have a 3.5 month off season, I'll spend probably the first 2 months in. The first month is very heavily isometric, like long isometric holds,
Yeah.
and then the second month is a combination of isometric holds and eccentrics, and then finally I start getting into more like power. But I think for me, I've done that for so long, I probably need to flip and do a little bit more power because I'm not very powerful. But I can take 120 or 30 pounds and do like a 4 second eccentric press. I just can't get it up.
Yeah, I've seen you do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was surprised when we were up in Seattle together.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and it takes way longer, like you said, to condition, to strengthen the ligaments and the connective tissue, and that's why I'm saying I'm committing to like a 1.5 to 2 year rebuild of my body. That's probably going to be slower than what's actually going to happen, but in order for my mind, I know that I'm going to want to push the limit, and this is me buying into like, hey, take your time with this. You take your time. You're not going to deal with the injury. You don't have time to deal with an injury, and in a 1.5, 2 years, your body's going to feel better than you felt when you were 19, 20 years old. And so, so we've been doing a lot of with the lower half, it's been more of like front split. There's like a 45 minutes front split routine, a side split routine that we're doing. We're doing a lot of it's actually some handstand work, overhead handstand work, which I've actually really been enjoying a ton. My shoulders have been feeling great. There's a quick shoulder mobility routine that we do. And then the gymnastics core is pretty unique. And you have to have insane core for gymnastics core. And so the core routine that we're going through is for me, it's not like a beach body core routine. It's like, you're using your core or you're building your core to be able to do some great things with it, not just to look good. So all this stuff has been fantastic.
Yeah. I find the same thing. My shoulders feel best when I've been doing a lot of isometrics, a lot of like slow, control-based stuff. All my post-game recovery stuff is now isometric based. For that reason.
Yeah, we were talking. So yeah, when we get back together, I'll have to break it down and show you all the information and show you everything that I'm learning. And yeah, because this stuff it's been legit, man.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. What I know you're like tied in on the nutrition side of things. Obviously, we talk about that a lot. But how much do you know about like gut health?
I mean, I don't really. So I do know a little bit, but the information isn't. Obviously, I'm a baseball player. You know what I'm saying? Like my wife knows more. She's getting her master's in nutritional medicine, and so she's on it. And so the stuff that I know is going to be stuff that me and her have talked about, and the stuff that getting my own blood work done, all my stuff done, listen to my doctors about it. So that's the stuff.
How often do you do blood work?
I only did it back in 2016, going into 17. What you got, bro?
You gotta what? Why? For someone who monitors their nutrition and their training so closely, how is that not a big part of it?
Because you can get there's things to where you can just chase your tail on when it comes to what you're giving your time to, and I found that nutrition is one of those things to where there's so many different things that you should do, and this and that, and you need to do this diet, you need to have this diet. No, you can only eat at this time. You need to do these macros. You do this. And it's like we're so biodiverse that it's so different for everyone, which is why you get your blood work done. But just through the research that me and my wife have done, I was actually going to get it done recently, but it's just like I'll probably get it done next off season. But the reason why I haven't gotten it done is my wife and I have come up with just we feel like a diet that works. It's very simple. It's not too draining on, you know, the mind or the sacrifices that you have to make in order to achieve being successful at doing this diet. And so I feel good on it. And so it's kind of one of those things where I got after it and I learned a ton, and I've learned what not to do and what to do for my body. So it's one of the, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can still have a roadmap or a baseline or something like that, check-in points.
100%. But you also, like, doing research on different doctors, good doctors to find too is tough. There's a lot of doctors that say, you know, so it's just, there's a lot of trust that goes in with who you're going to work
That's
with
fair.
and stuff like that. So, you know, you could go to one doctor and they tell you, like I said, they're just so, the nutritional, that whole area there is just so chaotic. It's changing rapidly, so you can get such different information from different people. So that's why my wife is with me every day. She's pretty educated, but yeah, like the blood work thing, I need to get my blood work done for sure.
Yeah. I just look at it, I look at myself as like a lab rat, basically. So I just try to collect as many data points along the way as possible so that when I'm done, I can write a book and just have like a bunch of data. And I don't know what any of this means, but here it is. Someone study it.
Yeah, that's legit. And I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
All right. So your gymnastics guy have anything for you on back hip rotation?
Back hip rotation. All right. Is this where we break down mechanics here?
Yeah. You want to see what I got for you?
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right.
I've been talking to Jagers too about something. He came up with something that I really thought was helpful too.
All right.
So let's hear what you got.
So I just took that.
Out of all of them I sent you, you picked the one with me with my shirt on.
I picked this is the last one you sent me. If you want a better one, I'll zoom in on your pec for you, and you can see how jacked you are. All right. So let's see. About this point here,
Yeah.
draw like if you look at my this part of my hip,
Yeah.
like you can see how it starts really turning.
Yeah.
So you see this part like leading into landing. So the foot,
So clean.
the front foot's down now.
Yeah.
But if you watch a couple frames leading into it, like you see how the hip is really turning.
Yeah.
So you can see this distinct like rotation of the hip, and then about this point, if you watch this little thing here, it stops. So so my lower half is basically dead here, and then all that energy is transferring up to the ball.
Yeah.
All right. So then if you look at yours, there's not really that distinct turning. It's kind of like soft into landing, kind of lazy back hip, and then it's kind of going together, and then it stops right about there.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of movement from this frame to that frame, and then it's done, but the ball's almost out of your hand,
Yeah.
right? So you brace really well on the front side, and obviously like you get a lot of separation between like your back arch in the back, so you get linear separation, but you don't get a whole lot of rotational separation between your hip and your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then for all the people watching, if you just focus in on this part, that's the part that Mike really wants you to look at. All right, so I think this is why it's happening. So if you look at like top of leg lift here, and the angle could be different, so it's really hard to break it down, but like your shin's a little bit more vertical than mine. Mine has a little bit more of like a tilt to it. But our back legs in general are kind of tilted in like that. So we're in a pretty similar position, right?
Yeah.
As you go, you're still kind of, I guess, extended on the backside. There's not as much like depth. So if you just watch coming down from leg lift, there's not really like a drop into your backside. You're kind of like just drifting forward, right?
Yep.
Okay. If you look at mine, there's a distinct like drop, like right about here. My body is going to
that's
go
where you're starting to.
right.
Yeah.
And so there's a distinct like dropping.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of hit the bottom like here.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where, because my shin back here is like tilted in, and I'm on the inside part of my foot, when I hit the bottom, it starts to turn my knee like this way.
Yeah.
But more than turning my knee, it's like the hips and the leg are locked together. So if you look at it from the top angle, like if my hips are in, like the plate's over here, the rubber's here, my hips are in this position right now. I hit the bottom and it starts turning the whole hip socket or the whole hip girdle like that.
Yeah.
So the back leg and the hip are kind of locked together and it's turning all of it into landing. So now when I land, my hips are in like this position. And so there's force on the front leg. Here's the front leg. Here's the back leg. So now when I land, there's force this way, which shoots this part of the hip back this way and shoots that part of the hip forward.
Oh.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where you see this like acceleration of the hip socket right after I land. Boom.
Exactly.
On yours, this hip is like elevated. The front hip is elevated.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is more flat. Let's go forward a little bit. So my hips are flat here, and yours are still elevated.
Yeah.
You can't rotate the hips until your hips are level,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not driving this hip socket open at all. You're just kind of falling down the mound.
Just kind of pushing it forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you're just kind of like striding out there, but there's not really any activation or drive
Yeah.
out of the back leg. And it's because I don't think you're getting this downward, like from this position as you're dropping your leg, you're kind of like shifting out as opposed to like dropping your body. You know?
Yeah, but so okay, explain the difference. You're not talking about drop and drive.
No. So drop and drive is
Because
if
I know
you're
people are going to get confused with this and say, oh, Trevor's saying to drop
Right.
and drive.
right. Okay, so this is like the center of my mass, right? And if you look at yours, your center of mass is kind of like there.
Yeah.
Let's see, get rid of that. So physically speaking, if I just drop this straight down, my only point of contact is back here. And so I have a diagonal vector. So there's an angle of force going this way and an angle of force going this way. And so the more I drop this down, the steeper this angle gets, so the more force it produces this way. But I'm not actively trying to produce that force by like pushing off the back leg. Drop and drive would be as if my center of mass was here and I just went straight down and then tried to produce force to go straight forward.
Exactly.
That's not what I'm talking about. So I think as long as you get your center of mass in front of your back foot, when you drop, you're using gravity to like create increasingly more force this way into the front leg block.
Yeah.
So you're really accelerating right here. So you have this big amount of force that you're generating into landing, and then all that energy can go up the chain.
Look at how high your knee is right there above the ground compared to mine.
Right. Yep. So, and that's because like when you're coming out, you're just kind of like falling out there. I think that from this point here, and I'm interested to hear your take on like what you're thinking on the lower half, what your cues and like how you've been taught or whatever. But I think if from here you just think about like dropping, like try to get as low as possible, like try to almost do a single leg squat. That's going to allow you to get in a position where you can use the back leg better to actually push the hip socket open, as opposed to just kind of like drifting forward and waiting till you land. Like you're elite at separating, like at shoulder hip separation in like the back bend in the linear direction.
Yeah.
but like, you don't get a whole lot of rotation. And I think it's because you maintain this like hip hike as you go out. You're still hiked,
Yeah.
and then you get to like right about here, but you're already kind of like falling forward, and so that back leg is kind of dead, and so the hip doesn't lead the shoulder, so you're missing that rotational piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested on your thought process, like from top of leg lift, like do you think about anything on your lower half? Do you try to keep, like do you try to shoot your hip out? Do you try to stay closed?
Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get that shin angle, whether right or wrong, this is what I'm trying to do. I noticed during spring training that my velo would go up without me necessarily trying to do any more effort. When on leg lift, I would get that shin angle geared more towards, see how my knee's drifting there?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get that shin angle going that way a little bit in order to create that momentum towards home plate. And then the only thing I'm thinking now after that is maintain contact with the rubber, not just my whole foot with the ground for as long as I can while I try and rotate my hips. That's what I'm thinking about the lower half. So see how like
Gotcha.
I'm keeping my foot in contact with the ground there.
Yeah.
So I think
because I know.
in this bullpen, that was the main focus, and the bullpens, in the past have been the main focus of trying to maintain contact with like we've talked about in spring training before, how I come up on my toe early.
Yeah. So this part right here, like, is really good. It's made a lot of improvement because you're rolling to the inside of the foot and then you're torquing around that big toe as opposed to kind of stepping. And it's the same type of look that you see in these couple frames if you watch my foot. It's the same thing. You get this roll to the inside of it and then that torque around the big toe.
Yeah.
So like that's happening, which is good. I just think that like with how powerful you are in the lower half, like you should be able to get into this like more dropping position as opposed to this here.
I 100% agree. So the thing is, the whole drop and drive thing, I think has been in my mind, like, well, I don't want to drop and drive. And so now that makes sense with what you're saying in a sense of, well, your weight's not over your foot. Drop and drive is just like having a balance point over over the rubber, dropping down and pushing out. And I knew I'm like, that's not right. So I'm not going to drop and drive. But it makes sense to where when I'm moving forward, and then like you're saying, like I work with simple cues and you know that. So it's like, just do a one-legged squat. It's like, oh, I could do that. I could do that easy.
Yeah.
Like I just need a simple cue like that. And some people think that, oh, like I'm super detailed and very, I can be very complicated, but it's really not the case. Like something as simple as that really helps me in the sense of, all right, once I move forward, do a single-legged squat, and then do everything else that I'm doing already. And it should.
So that's where I'm like, I think about things super complicated. And so I have a hard time explaining to other people because I don't use like cues like that. I want to know the science and how everything works. That's how my mind works.
Yeah.
So like we've been going back and forth on this for, 8 months now since last year.
We've been talking about this for a really long time.
Yeah. But we made a lot of improvement.
Yeah.
But I think there's like this last piece, and you can probably do it. Like if you get to this position where your center of mass is in front of that back foot, and you try to do a single leg squat, you're gonna feel like it's super uncomfortable because your body takes off like really quickly.
Okay.
And it's like if you have a pool or something like that, and you can do it off the edge of a pool, so you don't have to like land, and you can just feel what it feels like to drop into that back leg. Like that might be a place to start.
Yeah. That's something that Vito Portal recommended too.
Yeah. So I did that a lot in high school. I was like, I just stand on the edge of a pool and do my mechanics into the pool so I could get the start of it correct. Yeah. And I didn't have to worry about landing because I wanted to teach my body to be comfortable, like moving super fast.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
But as long as you get the center of mass in front, then you want to think about dropping. And then the other thing that I was going to say is you want to think about the back leg and the back hip, like like your quad area and your hip socket almost being locked together where you're not internally rotating the femur.
Uh-huh.
You're locking it with the hip socket and rotating the hip socket as a whole.
Okay.
So like getting to that's probably a little bit too complicated. I think it'll clear up
I
if
know
you.
What you're saying.
So like right here, I'm not like I'm not internally rotating my knee. It's turning the hip socket.
Okay.
And from here, I'm locked in a position because I've dropped into like I've gotten depth on the back leg.
Yeah.
That I can actually, when I drive from this position, it's pushing the hip socket open, as opposed to like extending the leg, almost like you're doing a side broad jump or something like that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to extend because that doesn't rotate the hips. But when you drop into this position, as long as you've gotten your center of mass out front when you go to drop, it's going to position your hip socket in a way that when you do drive off the back leg, it's going to pop the hips open.
Yeah.
And as soon as you find a way to get this, like that motion into landing, you're gonna sit 100 like very easy.
Yeah, I agree. So
and it's just a matter of getting that final like feel for you.
Absolutely. So this is like we're talking about like fine adjustments. I already throw. People are wondering like, man, you throw. 97, 98, 99. Why do you want to throw harder? Why is this? And it's like, because I don't move. Like if I was flawless with the way I moved, then I'd be like, hey, I'm satisfied. And a lot of people, because they see a number on a gun, they're like, well, obviously I'm not doing it wrong. I'm throwing this hard. It's like, no, that's not the case, man. You can't have that mindset. You gotta have the mindset of like pushing the limit. The only reason why that's hard, like back in the day, 95, 96 miles per hour was really hard. Nowadays, that's like, everyone's hitting 95, 96, even 97, 98. So I tell people all the time, like in 20 years, when dudes are throwing 104, I'm like, there's no way that these guys are better than me. I just limited myself because I was looking at what everyone else was doing. And I thought, oh, well, I'm at the top of that. So I must be getting the most out of my body. It's like, that's not the case. Like in 20 years, people are going to be throwing harder than that. And so that's what I look to like find my motivation. And I'm competing with guys in the future when it comes to velocity, not in today's game.
Yeah, no doubt. I that always sticks with me when you say it because that's exactly how I think. Like I don't want to be. My terminology is a little bit different. My dad taught me you don't want to be king of the chumps, or you can be king of the chumps, but you're still a chump. And I feel like today's humans are chumps relative to like 20 years or 40 years or 60 years from now. Not necessarily genetically, but like just what training techniques and all that. Exactly. So I don't want to look up. I know that when I'm 60, I'll look back and say, oh man, I wish I had that when I played because that's really cool. But I don't want to find out when I'm 60 that I did have it when I played and I just didn't research it or didn't go find it or apply it. That would drive me crazy. So
yeah, same stuff.
Also, the reason that we want to get your back hip moving is so that I don't actually throw harder than you. Because right now we're tied at the top end.
I'm throwing with trash mechanics and I'm throwing harder than you.
I don't know, man. I'm 99.8. You're 100.1. So technically you throw harder, but if we're rounding, we throw the same speed.
You're very technical, so we're going with technically. Coming from a data-driven guy, we're going to round up.
Well, 99.8 rounds to 100 and 100.1 rounds to 100. That's all I'm saying. Well, and Jordan Hicks is going to be back this year, so he'll for sure throw harder than you.
I'm hitting 103.
I believe you 100% because we're gonna get this back hip. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and we have the same experience with this. We both understand exactly what's supposed to happen, and we try to get people to feel it. And there's no reliable way. Like we haven't found a cue yet, or like one feeling that people are like, oh yeah, I feel it. But everybody that we work with, they feel it one time, and then they never go back. So it's not even like I'm starting to get it. It's like you're gonna throw one pitch that way and you're like, oh, that was it, and then it's just gonna be a quantum leap for you. You just gotta find gotta find what that cue is that like clicks it in with you.
I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, look, we've been trying to find this for 8 months now. We've been talking about it for a really long time. I consider myself to be extremely athletic. I take care of myself well. I have good proprioception. I understand my body very well, and it's taken me this long, man. But guess what? Like, I'm still getting that. Like, you can't allow yourself to get discouraged because you can't figure something out. Like, I've done so many wrong things trying to figure it out that I've learned from all those wrong things at the same time. I've learned about my body. I've learned about mechanics. I've learned about this. And now, when people come to me and want to ask me about certain things, well, I've done a million different wrong things and I've done a few right things. And I've had to search for all of them, just like you had to. Had to search for all of them, and now you're able to, like that's better than just, waking up and just being able to get into these positions, not even know how you're doing it, and you just do it. Like, I'll take this route and this road any day over just waking up and being able to do it.
Yeah, because one day you're gonna wake up and something's gonna be off, and if you've never had to figure it out, there's no road back. You don't know how to get back.
Yeah, and that that's like. You see certain guys, they'll have a breakout year, and it's like, dude, we're all really good at the major league level. We're all really good at the major league level, and we're all capable of having an unbelievable year. But how do you repeat that? Consistency, and it's understanding yourself, it's understanding your body, understanding the game really well, and so that's what we're seeking.
Yeah. What? A couple quick questions before I let you go. What do you think the top velo for a human off the mound could be? What do you think the limit is?
Limit, that's going to be hard for me to put a limit on, but I'm going to say we're fully capable of throwing 110 miles per hour. And that's
kind of the number that people throw out.
So that's for me, hearing this from somebody else who doesn't know anything about baseball, but has seen the way we train and seen the way we do things, and they're like, what are you guys doing? If his exact words were, if pitching, throwing off a mound just to a catcher were an Olympic sport to see how hard you can do it, hard you can throw, he's like, you guys would train completely differently, and you would, you guys would be throwing 110 miles per hour. There'd be multiple people throwing 110 miles per hour. Think about the gymnastics approach. These kids are training from 5, 6 years old, you know what I mean? And they're training, strictly. They're building up their bodies. They're able to do all these crazy things with their bodies, but they have to start from 5, 6 years old. We're having guys that are throwing 99, 100 miles per hour. And it's oh, what do you do? I just throw hard, bro. Imagine if we were to take that Olympic approach to training throwers, and oh, but you're supposed to be a pitcher. Guess what? The best pitchers are the best throwers. We talk about this with Caleb all the time. You want to be a great thrower. You want to be a great thrower. Yeah, there's going to be good pitchers that aren't great throwers, but they're good. They're good pitchers and this and that. But to be the best of the best, you know what I mean? You want to be a great thrower.
You have it's the base building block. You have to be able to throw in order to pitch. You can't pitch without throwing. So it makes no sense to me.
It makes no sense to me either. It's just this old saying that people love to just throw out there.
Yeah. All right. So human limit you think is somewhere around 110, but you're not going to limit it. What do you think you'll throw by the end of your career? Top velo.
I'm not going to be satisfied until I hit 110. If someone's telling me that the limit is 110, or so we can throw 110, but I'm not going to be satisfied until somehow I figure out a way to do that. Am I past that prime of being 15, 16 years old and you're able to train that way, or 10-year-old and be a lab rat type of thing? I don't know. It's unknown. So I'm not going to limit myself to Michael Jordan said something pretty cool, and he's motivated by the unknown. No one knew he was going to be Michael Jordan. No one knew. And his docu-series is out right now. I'm I love that, because I'm I'm motivated by that too. No one knows what I'm capable of, not even myself. I got to just keep pushing it, and I'm not going to be satisfied until, I one day hopefully hit 110 miles per hour, not with a stupid 3-ounce ball either.
Come on, bro. I've got 105.6 with the 5 ounce. 105.6, 112.8 with the 4, and 116.9 with the 3. So you can get on my level.
Wait, you threw what with the 5 ounce?
105.6.
Oh, I didn't know that was with the 5 ounce.
Yeah, multiple times actually. I've hit that number 3 different sessions, but I can't get past it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive. With the running gun thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's training like anything else. You overspeed, you underspeed. Yeah. All right, last one that I got for you. You retire. How old are you?
It depends on when my wife gets sick of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, hey, if I'm 45 years old and she's not sick of it, I'm playing.
You think that's like in isolation? If it was just you, like how long do you think you could play and compete at that level?
Dude, man, I'm so into this thing. Like, I feel like they take care of my body really well, and I'm constantly learning new things. I think that my body's capable of like 46 years old, chucking 95.
Nolan Ryan status.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm Nolan Ryan by any means. I'm just talking about age and longevity, whatever. I mean, he's throwing 200 all this. So yeah, I'm just saying, being age and throwing that hard, I think that
Sure. Okay. Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, Bartolo Colon, whoever. It's not an individual person, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. My limit's about 45. That's what I'm shooting for. So.
45. So what happens if you're 45 and someone offers you a 4-year deal? Oh, you only signed 1 year deals. Okay, so what if you keep getting 1-year deals after 45? Are you just like, nah, I'm good? And you're like, say you just came off of a Cy Young award at 45, you pitching again when you're 46?
I don't know. I got to travel at some point, man. You got to put a limit on it. I can't. I'm not going to play baseball if I'm not training all off season and trying to make the most of it. So at some point, I'm going to want to go live life and do some other stuff. But
that's true. I might have to turn into a manager, carve up my players, and take BP with the players. And
dude, we were throwing live ABs today, and Gagne came out and threw.
Really?
Yeah, I was sick, dude. Like growing up, like watching that dude, like being a big Dodger fan, and like the seasons he had, to see him, he's shredded right now. He's in great shape.
Really?
Still throwing. Yeah, crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you got to come out to Arizona, man. We've been setting up a mound in the middle of the desert, just wailing balls off into the desert. It's great.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It
was 105 today. But there's a nice little breeze. It honestly wasn't that bad with a little breeze. It wasn't that bad. Obviously, you stay on top of the nutrition and the hydration and stuff like that. But
yeah, I would like to come out, but I have this beautiful house here in Newport Beach.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts. You allow yourself a little bit of comfort. It's a slippery slope.
That's not how it starts, man. You see my setup.
Why do you think I live the way I do in Seattle?
Look at this setup here, man. This is what I do. This is what I do.
That's the best training environment that you can have, huh?
You got it here? Yes.
All right, that's fair. I don't want to take up all your night, but thanks for hopping on with me. It's been fun. I'll have to catch up again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
If you ever want to strike out in the middle of the desert, let me know. I got a mound. I'll punch you out.
Hey, what's my overall average against you?
We've never faced each other.
Oh, we've never faced each other.
Spring training games don't count.
Oh, but an appearance in the middle of a desert on a random mound in the middle of a desert, that counts?
Absolutely.
Hey, for those of you that don't know, I'm 1-for-1 on with Trevor. Almost took his head off.
It was a little bit to my left or my right, but yeah, you ambushed me. I was so rattled. For those who don't know the story, I was pitching, and they pinch hit Michael Lorenzen, and I don't know much about Michael. I'm like, oh, I know he hits. He's a good hitter, but like he's a pitcher. That's in my head. Like, I don't know what he's going to do. It's a spring training. He's probably going to go up there and swing first pitch fastball. So I was like, okay, I'll throw a safe pitch. I'll throw a first pitch cutter up there. So I throw a cutter for a strike. Whack! Like, I don't know what just happened. That's just, that's ridiculous. So, yeah, you got me. I'm gonna get you 1 point. I'm gonna get you.
All right, but I'm gonna face you too.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll drill each other the first one, and then get down to it after that.
Perfect.
All right, man. Good seeing you. We'll talk soon.
All right, see you, dude.
Yeah, later.